everyone, and welcome to the Red Dwarf TV Smegcast. This is episode 17, and it is a special Red Dwarf 30th anniversary Smegcast today. And I have with me Emma.
Hello.
And I have Ben.
How we doing?
We're doing pretty well, and I think everyone's quite happy at the moment because Red Dwarf recently won a comedy award. Did you guys see that?
Yes, best returning sitcom of 2017.
Yeah, I don't know what margin it won, but I'm assuming a fairly large margin.
Yeah, I think they were up for two, weren't they? Whether that best returning sitcom and best sitcom of the year or something.
Yeah, because they restarted the vote count for the final round in order to do the overall winner as well, didn't they?
Yeah, that's the comedy
right.
of the year. And I think the comedy was something called Inside Number 9, and I have no idea what that is.
I've never heard of that.
Neither have I. It looks quite... I'm actually just on the internet, I'm looking right now. It looks really serious. No idea what it is. Dark comedy series from Reese Shearsmith. No idea what it is.
Yeah. Well, it's not Red Dwarf.
No, I don't care.
Obviously.
But it's just about it beat Red Dwarf, so I'm like, who is this?
Well, they're wrong. But at least Red Dwarf did win some awards and is getting recognised, which is really cool. 30 years going strong.
Exactly.
So thinking about the last 30 years worth of TV that the Red Dwarf guys have brought to us, what do you think? Well, let's start off with something like quite fun. What's your best bit of merchandise or memorabilia that you've got?
Do you know what? I don't really have a lot of memorabilia. I just have the DVDs. Quite sad, really.
Well, no, DVDs are quite essential. You've got to have the DVDs. That's the starting point.
I've got every DVD. I just don't have any merchandise. They don't really do a lot of merchandise, really, do they? Or is it me?
You can obviously... Oh, what were you going to say,
They haven't got much. I said they haven't really got much at the minute, have they?
They probably do more nowadays, but not like back in the day. I don't think they had a lot, did they?
Yeah, people tend to collect the signatures and things like that. There've been some cool T-shirts and bits and pieces, and loads of books, obviously.
I think like if some special edition DVDs, it had like a little mini star bug or something like that. But I never really got that. I never really got any of those.
I've seen some awesome props made by fans and stuff. There was a guy I follow on Instagram that's been making replicas of Rimmer's Light Bee.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, which is pretty awesome. So I know there's loads of fan-made stuff and people that make replicas of Starbug and Red Dwarf itself. I'd love a replica Red Dwarf.
So would I, actually.
That would be so cool.
There was some guy who started up some sort of campaign to try and get Lego Red Dwarf, didn't it? But it never got through.
That would be amazing because it's so square and boxy and made of all these little parts.
That campaign is still going.
Oh, is it? Because I know you can submit to Lego like a design for a Lego piece, and if it wins like right amount of votes, then they'll make it. But I don't think Red Dwarf got through. Something else beat them. But it would be cool to like a model car.
Lego Ideas.
Sorry.
You have to go on to Lego Ideas.
Yeah, that's it. Lego Ideas.
Maybe they resubmitted.
Yeah, we should do.
That would be cool because you could have Red Dwarf and you could have little Starbugs that came out of it.
Exactly, a little blue midget as well. That'd be pretty awesome.
Oh, and then we'd have minifigs of the guys as well.
Exactly. I think you can buy those actually minifigs. There was a website. I think you can actually buy little ones of them.
I've seen some people make custom ones themselves, but I've not seen any official ones. It would be kind of cool to have proper official Lego minifig for the guys because you could have just you could have a head in a hole for Holly.
Or a little box, couldn't you?
There's a company called minifigs.com that actually sell the Red Dwarf Lego characters.
So they're making them.
It. Yeah, but what about Funko? Have they done any? Because they usually do everything, don't they? The pop figures.
I've only seen customs. I've only seen people making their own ones, but they must be by now. The show's got so big, and I think it's got more and more international acclaim as well. That it must be.
I mean, they do pretty much everything, those Funko Pop things, literally everything. So I can't understand why they haven't done Red Dwarf yet.
It's down to licensing. There's always a licensing issue.
Oh, that's a good point, yeah.
I have emailed Funko Pops myself, and it's been put forward to the design team, but that's the last I heard of it.
So if we get them, we'll know it was all because of you, Ben.
Well, it's down to how many people email them for it. So the more people that email, the more interest they get.
Yeah, that's kind of cool that they listen to people like that.
Yeah.
They do some really obscure ones as well. It's like my favourite film is Big Trouble in Little China, and they got little Funkos of that, and I didn't expect them to do that one because it's quite a cult film. It was quite a flop when it first came out.
Yeah. Oh, Mark just sent me a picture of a Lego bunk room for Red Dwarf someone's made.
That was one that was submitted for the Lego ideas.
Oh, it's got a little Lego scatter.
Mm-hmm.
I want a Lego scatter.
I want to do ones, like you can build, you can build your own, Meccano and stuff like that. Make a massive, like a giant working scatter. That'd be quite cool.
We need more things. I think we have a new player has joined. New challenge accepted. Do we have an Aaron as well now?
Hello.
Hello, additional person. Welcome to the Smegcast.
Right, just opening up the Word document.
We're just talking about how they should be giant Red Dwarf Lego.
Oh, that
scutters. Mechanical ones you can actually drive around yourself like in Robot Wars. Combine Robot Wars with scutters.
That sounds like a way I would lose all of the walls and doors in my house because I'd just be driving like Robot Wars style scutters through all of the furniture and
exactly with flamethrowers on top of it. That'd be great.
I do like flamethrowers, I have to say.
Exactly.
You're just combining everything I like here.
What would you
say? That's what you need.
That electric space bike would be cool to have.
That would be cool, actually.
It's the Sinclair C5 chopped, isn't it?
I think it was, yeah. Well, look, very similar.
Yeah. I'm learning stuff today. I didn't know that. It was cool, though. I do remember it. That would be quite an awesome thing to have.
My favourite merchandise at the minute is probably my bottle of lager that I haven't drank yet.
Oh, you got the promotional one.
How did you manage to get one of those? I've been trying to...
I was sick. I couldn't get it on that day. I was really ill, but I couldn't get out. In certain pubs, you can get them.
Yeah, it came free with the Daily Mirror. And you had to go to certain pubs.
Yeah, and I was too sick to go and get it.
I managed to get two. So one of them I've saved and not opened, and then the other one I've turned into a table lamp.
That's cool.
Presumably, it should have tasted awful because I get the feeling that they have the cheapest, awfulest kind of lager and things possible on the ship. So to be authentic, they should have made it awful cheap lager.
Well, we all know
it wasn't that bad actually. It was just a real ale. So,
I was going to say, well, doesn't Lister only have like 2 functioning taste buds? So
yeah,
he doesn't care.
He wouldn't know.
Exactly. He wouldn't care. He tastes spice and alcohol. I say he ever wants to taste me, doesn't
he? That's literally 2.
Lager, the only thing that can kill a Vindaloo.
Exactly.
Well,
my other bit of merchandise that I'm liking at the minute is my cufflinks that I got custom made, which would have, they are meant to be selling them soon on the Cufflink gift hub, but I'm still waiting for a link. So.
Oh, there you go. Actually, I've got a mug that says that Star Bug Coffee. My friend got me that for Christmas. So I forgot I had that actually.
Nice. Has it got the logo kind of but made red?
Yeah, made that instead of Starbucks, but it's got the Star Bug in there instead.
Craig has that on Gadget Show.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. Cool. I'd not noticed that. I'll have to look out for that now.
Yeah, he has Red Dwarf coffee mugs when he's doing his little thing in the studio.
Of course, you got to sit there and promote the brand, haven't you?
Yep.
Self-promotion, why not?
Exactly, why not? And you've got to do all these kind of things. So yeah, some awesome merchandise, some of which doesn't quite exist and totally should, and some which we totally do have. I was wondering though, apart from merchandise, out of the whole show, all the episodes that I'm assuming everyone has watched every single one about 67 times each, does anyone have a highlight, a specific, we'll start with Emma, does anyone have a specific highlight, a favourite moment from the last 30 years?
I think the ultimate one has to be the first polymorph. When he's Lister's underpants. That's probably the funniest scene in history.
The first sign they had a budget.
Oh, come on. I think everybody watched that scene was on the floor in tears because that is probably the most ridiculous thing. It's just Rimmer's face when he walks in and just looks at him. You're like, what is this?
What about you, Ben? Have you got a favourite moment?
Off the top of my head, I can't think of one. One of my favourite bits is in Gunmen of the Apocalypse, with the old bullet shooting around and hitting Crichton on the head. The sign. I think that was a bit genius.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's so many, isn't there? I can't think of one straight off.
Yeah, well, there's tons to choose from. Aaron, have you got an off the top of the head favourite moment that you'd say is up there?
Yeah, I think one of Lister's head exploding. I think it was just a brilliant payoff because you have Crichton and Rimmer doing the whole engine deck display. And then all of a sudden you just hear this massive squelch and then Cat running in going,
it's even worse for Cat actually because it's like he's been splattered and he really takes care of his appearance. It's like the one person who would really affect having it all splurge over his lovely suit as well.
Especially if it was a clashing colour.
Exactly.
I think
the old space mumps.
Yeah, I think it was just the way the scene played out that just made it perfect, Crichton trying to avoid the diesel deck.
Going to a coma.
Can we take a break, sir? It appears my intelligence circuits have melted. If we don't take a break now, we won't get through the E-deck.
That's a gamble I'm willing to take.
Yeah, that's a gamble.
For me, I think it's like from the older episodes. I do really love it's a small bit, but just where they're doing their kind of nozzle cleaning, just Rimmer and Lister right back at the beginning, and he's cleaning it, and he's like, "Does that look like a 1B? No, does that look like a 1? No, this is a 1B." And then he picks up both of them, and when Lister's not looking, he looks at both of them, can't tell the difference, and then uses the one Lister gives him because he obviously has no clue. And I felt that was just Rimmer's character all over because it was all of the kind of pompous authority, but none of it and none of the intelligence that went with it. And
yeah,
I love little moments like that from the new series. It was the cheap gag with the invisible beer can opening where Cat has the tube up his sleeve of lager, and that was probably one of my top moments from the entire latest series. Was just how absolutely preposterous, and it was such a cheap gag, but the way they play it, the timing, I dread to think how many takes that took with them laughing and then him having to dry Lister off and then re-soak him in cheap lager. I want to see the outtakes.
Actually, from the new series, I quite liked how Crichton manipulated Rimmer to get him to do the mopping for him. That was really, really clever.
And then Lister ruined it.
Really clever.
Yeah, there's a way he's just like, "What? Today isn't about delegation; it's about manipulation." He's like,
No, stop.
I was like, I like Hitler with the old selfie in a late.
Yeah, that was hilarious. That's on my Facebook. That's my cover photo still.
How many members of the cast have you guys met? Who have you met, Emma? Have you been to any conventions with these guys?
I've only ever been to one, the Last Dimension Jump.
Yeah.
And I met all of them apart from Craig.
Okay, that's pretty good going.
Yeah, no, well, for the fact I've only been... Oh, no, actually, tell you a lie. I remember years ago when Back to Earth came and they had a special sort of like photo shoot with like Carbug. And I think that was in Berkeley Square in London.
Okay.
Technically, that was the first time I did meet them, and I had my photo taken there. That was quite cool.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I thought I was talking about my Facebook somewhere. I have to go and find that out. But yeah, technically, that would have been the first time I met them. So yeah.
That's pretty cool. They're all nice guys.
Lovely.
Ben, have you had the chance to meet any of the cast?
I've met most of them at Dimension Jump last year. And then I tried to meet Craig Charles, at the Roadmender when he did his soul and funk show.
Okay.
But unfortunately, the bouncers weren't very helpful on that night. And then it's like,
yeah.
So
it's a busy night. It's a busy night. He'll be at some of the more. There's the 30th anniversary Dimension Jump special. Like, surely he's going to be at that one for you.
Yeah. Well, they made me pay for a ticket to go in, so I managed to stay in it for about 20 minutes. He acknowledged me there. It's the only one with a London Jets t-shirt on. But then I had to leave early. So.
Oh, well, at least you got to meet everybody else, and that's pretty cool.
Norman Lovett, I still need to meet. So, at the main lot. So, hopefully he'll be at. I'm going to Stoke-on-Trent soon, so hopefully he'll be at that one. Fingers crossed.
He does a lot of cons. He's been doing a lot more recently. I know he's at MCon Burton this month, actually.
Is that Lovett or Craig Charles?
Lovett.
Yeah. Yeah, I've not met him. I don't know what he's like in real life. I'm assuming he's lovely just because he doesn't seem capable of being anything other.
From what I've heard, he's quite if he sees a Red Dwarf fan or something, he's quite open to him. So
that's cool. Who have you met, Aaron?
So far I've met most of the main cast. I go to MCM a lot and managed to meet Craig, Danny, Robert, Barry. Love it. I'm gonna go meet Chloe Annette and Mark Dexter later this month at MCon.
Okay.
Mark Dexter's nice to talk to.
Yeah. That's why I was running with the joke, saying maybe I should go buy a bottle of salad cream and see if Chloe will sign it. But
are you an autograph chaser then?
But we're going to have to ask her the question: fridge or the shelf?
Oh dear. Sparking some debate there.
You could start a war.
He's a nice bloke, actually. He really is. And it was Danny who I got to sign a custom picture I printed up of his shocked expression from backwards. He laughed at it and said that was one of my most famous scenes to film.
Yeah.
He says you love doing that one.
That's pretty awesome. I've met quite a few of them. I had a nice chat with Hattie at Reading Comic-Con last year. She's absolute sweetheart, and I got to video a press-only panel at MCM last year, which is up on the Red Dwarf TV channel, and that was pretty cool because that had had 4 of them there, so we could listen to them all bouncing off each other and being very, very silly, as only they know how to be very, very silly. I would love to meet original Kachansky. I've forgotten the actress's name now, but
Claire Grogan.
Yeah, I don't know if she still does any of the cons and things, because she was only really in a couple of episodes, but I loved her character so much. I would love to meet her, or for them to reinstate her, or have both Kachanskys. That would be pretty awesome. Timey-wimey confusion things.
Cons.
Yeah?
She tends to tour with a band more lately, doesn't she?
That makes sense.
She's brought back Altered Images.
Yeah.
Although, does anybody know any other song by Altered Images other than Happy Birthday?
But we will have to look them up straight after this and get singing along. Then we'll definitely, if she does do any more cons for the Red Dwarf guys, we could serenade her.
Yep.
Badly in my case, obviously.
Maybe they should get her for a special appearance at with the whole band, the Dimension Jump.
Get the whole the Red Dwarf guys to join, and they could all pick up. I'm sure that Rimmer could play the triangle.
I'm sure
you all know that there isn't.
Cat could dance.
I'm sure they could just alter the lyrics from Happy Birthday to Happy Anniversary.
That's a cunning thought.
There is an actual band, I think they're in Germany, that's actually a named Red Dwarf as well, if anyone knew that.
No, I didn't.
I've found them on YouTube. If you put in Red Dwarf band, they do quite a lot of stuff.
That's cool. It's always good to find bands that are devoted to something. There's a heavy metal band somewhere that only sing about Arnold Schwarzenegger films, I think it is.
It's the chopper.
And there was that band that made the news that every single member is dressed like Ned Flanders for some reason. Well,
why not? Everyone's got to have a thing. Why not? It's probably quite comfy to wear that. It's quite warm in winter. It's quite practical, really.
Yeah. Everyone all dressed like Ned Flanders with the hair. They even have all the same haircut and the mustache.
So they end every song with diddly. Speaking of music, is there any bit of music in the show that you guys have a favourite on? What about you, Emma? You got a favourite bit of music from the show?
Probably when with Lister and Hitler, their little duet. That was freaking hilarious.
I can't believe how many times Hitler comes up in like these podcasts nowadays. This is going to be totally affecting our YouTube ratings. So like, we seem to have found a podcast about Hitler. So Hitler.
Oh, are you shizering me? He's amazing.
I can't disagree, but at the same time, it feels so wrong to say.
I know, it's like, you know, one hand is absolutely hilarious, the other hand he is Hitler. You know, it is because he's Hitler, isn't it?
But he isn't.
Yeah, it is because he's Hitler. I can't really not deny it. But yeah, no, I had to look at the song. I just didn't know it was a real song.
Same haircut.
Yeah, I had no idea that was actually a real song. I had to look it up.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm sure you prefer the Red Dwarf rendition anyway.
Oh, yeah, it's much better. It's a bit weird.
What about you, Ben? Favourite bit of music from the song? From the TV show?
Very typical, and it's definitely tongue-tied, I think. Has to be one of my favourites. Probably because I got it on vinyl and
oh, wow.
And yeah. So.
Yeah. I take it you've seen the music video they made for it with the whole storyline and extra stuff.
Yeah, and I missed out on sending off because when they had the Red Dwarfs magazine, you could send off for the video, couldn't you? But I missed out.
All right, okay. Yeah.
It's on Tinterwebs, so you know it is still available thanks to the joys of the YouTube.
I've got it on the Smeg Outs. On the Smeg Outs video, so.
Yeah, God, I didn't even know they released that on vinyl. That's amazing. I'll have to look that up and see what the cover artwork's like.
Well, it was like in the singles chart, wasn't it? I think. He released his music video.
Yeah, I think it got to about number 14 in the UK charts.
Sweet.
Yeah.
From what I remember, didn't it like sell very poorly, and then Howard Goodall just went around buying up loads of copies from HMV?
Back when you could do that in order to change the ratings.
Like the song, I suppose, isn't it?
Have you got a favourite piece of music from the series, Aaron?
Oh, there's quite a few that spring to mind. I mean, I do like, the classic Series 1 theme, because I thought, had that interesting sort of military yet almost industrial sound to it. Then again, I also liked Ace's theme from Dimension Jump. I think it had that
everything
sort of
to do with Ace is good.
It had that sort of, heroic but also Top Gun-esque edge to it.
I'm surprised no one's mentioned the Arnold Rimmer song. Is Arnold Rimmer is such
is that your favorite?
Fantastic swimmer. It gets in my head, so it's kind of, I love it, but I also hate it because once I've got it in my brain, it just won't stop, and I know the whole thing.
I think that's how everybody feels about it. It's like we love it, but at the same time, it needs to get out.
Yeah, it's a love-hate, that one. Other than that, I'm just going to go for the ending theme as well, because I used to sit and sing along. It's one that you sing to the ending theme rather than change channel when the actual programming had finished.
I like the ending theme.
So
when at the dimension jumps, when everyone's singing along to it, it's really cool.
You can't help but sing along to the ending theme.
Okay, I was going to say, speaking of the ending theme, come on, what's everyone's favourite variation?
Well, Elvis.
Yeah.
When he sings it. Elvis singing it is pretty cool.
The Hammond organ recital night?
No, I don't Elvis. Top one has to be Elvis. Elvis is amazing.
I'd have to agree with that one.
The Western version was pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, awesome. So much music to choose from. I hadn't realised quite how much of a musical show this actually was until now, I have to say. But moving on from music and thinking about people, do you have a favourite guest star from the last 30 years?
You think?
It's a tough one. I don't give you easy questions. I don't even write them, but taking that aside.
I think Rimmer's brother was quite funny. That was quite funny to watch.
I can't remember who played Rimmer's brother.
Mark Dexter.
Yeah, Mark Dexter.
Oh, okay.
He was pretty funny.
I like Johnny Vegas. He was quite good. I think
he's a lot of people's favourite.
And Quig. I played Quig. He was good.
Charles Organ.
Quig was hilarious.
Yeah.
Actually, do you know what? I'm going to say I quite like Talkie Toaster.
Which one, though?
I love Talkie Toaster.
I'm a big fan of Toaster. I wanted the rumoured plot line. There was a rumoured plot line where Toaster was going to take over Holly and take over the controlling Red Dwarf at some point. And I wish that had got made. I hope that they circle back to that idea and they make a Toaster taking over the ship plotline, because that would just make my day.
I love that. You cut off the oxygen. You eat toast. Otherwise, I'm cutting off the oxygen.
Eating toast to earn your oxygen. Yeah.
I like that.
How much do you want the stores on the outside of the ship closed? Yeah, he'd be cool with like a power-hungry, power-mad Toaster. Croissant or death. Cake or death.
I like that. Crumpets or die.
Crumpets or die. We have to make that a hashtag.
Oh, the dude from In Betweeners, he was when he's the mech.
Oh yeah. I can't never remember his name.
No, I can never either. Young Del Boy is what I call him from Rock and Chips.
Yeah.
Right. He did a pretty good job on it.
Yep.
I think with the newer series, as good as they are, some of the scripts is a bit limited. Right.
Oh, do you know what I just thought?
Yeah.
A really good character I loved was Mr. Ackerman. He was freaking hilarious.
Oh, nicey Ackerman.
Exactly, he was hilarious. So camp and so ridiculous. Just remembered, he was so brilliant, that guy. I love Mr. Ackerman.
Oh, there've been so many people. I can't wait to see who they bring in the next series as well, because it's just they keep getting bigger and bigger and people. So, and everyone loves Red Dwarf, so it's a gig that they all want. I can't think of any other comedian that is not going to want to go on the show and join up with the main cast. And speaking of the main cast, I don't think you can, but with the main cast, who has a favourite? You got a favourite, Emma?
Well, it has to be Rimmer, hands down. Hilarious.
Yeah?
Absolutely hilarious.
Love for Rimmer.
Yeah, well, do you know what it is? Because he does the things that you're not supposed to do, but you want to do anyway. It's like, if someone comes towards you, you kind of just want to, you don't want to go and fight it. You want to run away, really, don't you? Let someone else handle it, don't you? So, it's kind of like, yeah.
Rimmer
like
the realist.
Yeah, exactly, Would you really, it's like, saying like, like in the episode when everyone was cured, should we take all the evil guys on the ship with us? No, you leave them behind. I don't want Hitler after me. He does everything.
I think
you kind of want
with
to do.
Rimmer though, Rimmer runs away even when he's a hologram that can't possibly be hurt, though.
True. That is true. That is true.
His survival instinct. One could say.
No, I like it. He's hilarious.
Yeah. What about you, Ben? Have you got a favourite character?
Mine's probably Lister. Just pure, I don't know. I think we all want to be that cool character that doesn't give us Smeg and wants to get out there and twat it, as he says.
What about you, Aaron? Who's your favourite character?
That is like the toughest question ever. I mean,
it is. That's why I'm putting you on the spot.
I do kind of like Lovett's Holly, though. I think he has to be the standout character from series 1 and 2.
I go out down the corridor, I turn my flashlight on, I turn my flashlight off. There was something just truly adorable about Holly.
Yeah, it's like, I got it. All right, dudes, what's going down in Groove Town? Hang on, I've forgotten what I was going to say. That's right, a meteor's about to hit the ship. Yeah.
You do a good Holly. I can't do impressions, I'm terrible. You do good Holly.
Well, I simply try.
Got an IQ of 6 PE teachers.
Yeah, IQ of 6,000 isn't really that much. It's only about the same as 12,000 PE teachers.
Does anyone else miss the Holly intros?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, they were quite funny actually.
Yeah, I did enjoy having them, especially sort of when they would sort of just use it to retcon and contradict stuff, because they had the episode, one of my favourite episodes, where Lister becomes a chef in order to outrank Rimmer. And then it's on the beginning of the next one, and Holly just says, and last week Lister pretended that he'd passed an exam to become a chef, and that's just the end of it. They just never mention it again. And they just used it to just get rid of stuff that was funny but then was no longer needed. And it just, I enjoyed it. It allowed them to kind of do whatever they wanted and keep some sort of continuity in a way that was funny and no one cared.
And talk about, little events that happened off camera that were quite hilarious. Like the time they found a moon shaped like Felicity Kendall's bottom. They flew around that one a few times.
Or being too polite to take the last after 8 mint, or stuff like that.
And they've also run out of Shake and Vac.
Yes, I remember that one. I'd forgotten the moon one, but I remember the Shake and Vac. My memory is totally selectively wrong. Felicity Kendall is awesome. I wonder what she thought of having her bum moon mentioned.
She probably enjoyed the publicity.
Well, we found a moon that kind of looked like Felicity Kendall's bottom. We flew around that one a couple of times.
Felicity Kendall is an awesome person. I'm trying to think, because I haven't answered my own question. My favourite character is Cat, so I think we're pretty much one each for this, because I love Cat from the second, like, he's on screen. And all the just ad-libbing, completely off-the-cuff stuff that Danny does was never in the script. He just did it because he's got all this classical dance training, and just the way Cat moves and the way Cat's just kind of like, I don't care about you, you're boring, I'm going up here. And he's just so incredibly honest.
He's like a child, really. Children are too honest.
Yeah, and I think I'm a cat person, so I grew up with 6 cats, so I can just relate. It's sort of cats just walk in the room and go, "Hey, you're boring," and then
I ain't doing that. I do like the cat CV. It's kind of reminds me of my sister. That's why I call the cat my sister from now on. Does not clean. Doesn't help. Does not clean. Will have sex with anything. Yeah, that's my sister.
She'll hear this, and then you will probably pay, and it won't be our fault.
I've got a million of them.
It's good to know what your last words are. I don't care. Oh goodness, yeah. But all the cast are good. That you can find awesome things to say about absolutely everyone, which I think is quite rare to say about a show. Is that no matter how unlikable someone is, they're still incredibly likable. It's really well written, like through pretty much it goes up and down a little bit in my opinion, but pretty much the whole run, the characters are consistently good.
Yes.
Which is pretty awesome. So I'm going to give you another very, very hard question now because I'm basically slightly evil. Best episode.
No, see, you could say Gunman's the best episode because that's when it won the Emmy.
Yeah.
But I quite liked Quarantine. I've always thought that was quite funny, and Demons and Angels.
Yeah.
I've always liked stuff from either those, either Series 6 or Series 5. I thought those were the best episodes in those ones.
Yeah, I've been called out before because I've been asked this question before, and I said, you know what, my favourite episode is Marooned, when it's just Rimmer and Mr. Stuck and Starbuck, and then it was pointed out to me that Kat's not even in that one, basically, and it's my favourite character's not in my favourite episode. But I do the simpler episodes for me, the ones that are just a couple of characters stuck in a room.
Exactly, like Porridge.
Although I do have to say Quarantine as well for Mr. Flibble, and I saw an incredible Mr. Flibble cosplayer.
Exactly, amazing star.
Oh. Yeah, I like the simple episodes, but Mr. Flibble is just incredible. What about you, Ben? Have you got a favourite episode? If you could only watch one episode of Red Dwarf.
That would be tough. I have to say that. One of mine is Backwards. It's like the whole concept of that one.
Yeah, quite difficult to do as well with the
ending
talking and doing. Yeah, there's even more in the book. The book's a lot longer than the broadcast episode for that one. There's a lot more stuff that goes on in the book that they probably could never show on a TV episode, which is well worth a read. What about you, Aaron? If you could only have one episode of Red Dwarf?
Whitehole.
Yeah,
that was pretty funny.
I think that whole episode was fantastic, and I think one of the even the ending, it didn't feel cheap. It was still quite funny. Even though
I like the fact you were in there determined with you knew your answer. You had all the time of the other, three people going, I don't know, to just sound all definitive.
I think it's just because it's one of the the most standout episodes of Series 4, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's just one massive gag from start to finish. Everything from Talkie Toaster to the white hole, to the discussion in the middle,
Yeah, that's a good Toaster episode as well. I do see even my favourite episode has not got many of my favourite characters in it. Yeah, more Toaster is definitely something that I would want to see happening in future series now they've brought him back. For the next so many years of Red Dwarf, what do you guys want? What's your hopes and dreams for the next 30 years?
Don't know. You don't want a series to end because you love it, but at the same time they can't really go on for another 30 years.
I'm sure people said that at the start. People probably didn't think they'd go 30 years. It could do. It will be VR interactive, better than life. Red Dwarf. It will become in a kind of very meta kind of existential way. It will become better than life within itself as an experience that we'll be plugging into our Matrix style holes in the back of the neck type thing.
Or are we already in the Matrix? You never know.
As long as there's still Red Dwarf, that's cool. If my bills could be reduced, if none of my money's real, I'd like my bills to be reduced. But other than that, I'm fine.
Obviously more series would be great. I'm not too sure, just keep on going with what they're doing. They've got the format down now. They don't really need to sit there and, just keep on churning out the good episodes, really, innit? That's what I think.
Yeah. What about you, Ben?
I can't really answer that. I have thought about whether a crossover would work.
Yeah.
Not with Doctor Who, like a lot of people are saying, but with something else. So,
like what?
I don't know. Maybe into a Simpsons world or something. That might be a bit more interesting. So.
Yeah. Well, anything that's kind of sci-fi or has time travel or something could easily pop into it.
Or because they're sort of Hitchhiker's Guide sort of way, maybe in a crossover with the Hitchhiker's sort of franchise.
They're a similar sense of humour as well, so that would work quite neatly.
All right, how about something like the Terminator? They get flung into the Terminator and they've got to try and beat the Terminator. That'd be quite funny. Them trying to get that out.
I think it would be a very short episode. They'd be dead.
Arnold Schwarzenegger trying to hunt them down. That'd be quite funny.
For all the 3 seconds they lasted, it would probably be quite funny.
No, you just shot right in there, then you just run off. It'd be fine.
Yeah, I think I'd want them as I mean I've said this before, but Blackadder, Red Dwarf.
That'd be pretty funny, actually. Yeah.
Blackadder versus Rimmer, some kind of, because Blackadder goes through time. All you need is a super future version of Blackadder where he's stuck on a different ship from a different alternate universe style thing, and they cross, and it's just Blackadder versus Rimmer, because Blackadder's like the super intelligent version of Rimmer.
Yeah.
There has been a lot of people trying to see if Mr. Brittus might turn up.
Oh gosh, I don't know if you can have Mr. Brittus and Rimmer in the same ship. I think the whole thing would implode.
We survived 2 Rimmers when he
just about
lost brother or something.
For like an hour. How long? You're having more than one Rimmer is bad. I don't think you can have Rimmer and Mr. Brittus in the same ship. I think it would all just implode.
They could go into the most boring better than life ever, or the most boring simulation ever, and it was a simulation of running a leisure centre. And then they could just all play the British Empire characters.
Yes, and then Brittus destroys Red Dwarf in less than 3 minutes. Because he doesn't realise he's a complete and total Smeg head.
They never do.
Yeah, that fact is always sort of passes them, doesn't it?
Rimmer realises he's a Smeg head.
He just doesn't admit it. He just knows he is, but he just can't bring himself to admit it, so he pretends he isn't.
He gets more self-aware as the series goes on. His character has evolved really quite a lot
definitely.
As the series has gone on.
Yeah, it does realise that, but at the same time, he realises it. But at the same time, he still chooses to sit around with some people who you can sit there and boss around.
Yeah, I quite like
a bit better.
Because we had it reverted back to original Rimmer when they did Back in the Red, because you had the alive version of Rimmer before he'd gone through all those changes. And they were like, oh God, you're back to how you used to be. And they acknowledged all those changes. I'd really hoped after they had to reset Lister's memory in the last series that he was going to stay for a few episodes back as original Lister behaviour. Rather than it just be that little lovely bit at the end where they recreated the bit of the end, if that makes sense. I wanted a few episodes where Lister was back to being original Lister until they could kind of put the rest of the memories back, because that just would have been to have Rimmer being in the situation where it was Lister who was really the obnoxious, terrible one, and he was the far more rounded, grown-up one.
Yeah, but I think just the way they they sort of egg each other on anyway. I think he would just in that situation probably just reverted back to how he was anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're in that situation where you're putting arguing with someone who's childish, you end up reverting back to being like them, don't you?
Especially if you grew because they're kind of their relationship's kind of brotherly, so I guess it has that. You would just revert back.
Exactly. I did my sister.
Well, your sister's now going to murder you, so that's sorted.
Oh, that's all right. She's got to find me yet.
She knows you're on a podcast. This mic.
Yeah, it doesn't.
But I think there's so many things they could do. I'd like to see some more stuff with the virtual reality in the other worlds. Like they went to the Jane Austen world when Kachansky took them there, and I think it'd be good if they kind of rediscovered that system but they could only find really boring ones or really weird ones or ones that were like The Sims or ones that were like Farm Builder or something, and just how they could take the most, because they managed to ruin the better than life where everything's supposed to be wonderful. How could they ruin something that's really mundane and safe and just somehow turn it into a disaster zone as well?
Or what about like Badger Simulator or Goat Simulator? They become badgers and goats and they just got to hang around. Rimmer wanted to be a goldfish. Why don't you just be a badger instead? You just got to dig holes. No problem.
Oh, Rimmer could be a goldfish like he always wanted.
Exactly.
That would be so tragic and sort of funny.
Just kind of reminds me of Crichton when they did that and he took the tank from the World War II simulator.
Oh, yeah. That was pretty funny.
Dinner is served.
I wanted to do that to people when I've slaved away cooking. Like, you ungrateful little gits.
I said supper is served.
So you do it better and you're more accurate than me.
I just end up doing Red Dwarf impressions better than some people. I just do.
Although I do massively enjoy whenever you get a panel with the guys and they start doing impressions of each other.
Oh, yes.
That's always a good one. Maybe it would be nice to have a mind swap episode where everyone was in someone else's body. That
would be pretty hilarious. I was thinking about that actually the other day, where cool that would be if all of them swapped each other and have to work out how to get themselves back, and stuck like each other for like a week or something like that.
Because we've had it a tiny bit when Rimmer was in Lister's body and he just ruined it. But it would be good. You could swap it around. You could put Cat in Lister's body and see how he coped.
Not very well.
You could swap them all about. It would be. I think that would be a fun idea for an episode. If anyone is listening to this podcast and may like to steal that idea, totally steal our ideas. We want to see it.
Doug.
And there's going to be possibly the Red Dwarf live. It's going to happen in the next series as well.
Yeah,
I'm not sure about that, to be honest. I mean, they've got the format. It works as it is. I don't think they should really go for a live show. It could turn out to be really quite pants. People will go and watch it. I just don't know if it'll work well as a stage show. I don't know.
Yeah, people said that because I don't know if you've ever seen Bottom, which was Rick Mail and Eddie. And the live versions of that were incredible because they would just end up ad-libbing and going completely off script and just forgetting what they were supposed to be doing and ripping into each other and it just they ended up being incredibly funny just because the two of them had that chemistry. And I think the same could be true of the Red Dwarf guys. You get them on a good day on the panels, they're funny just against each other. So I think that a Red Dwarf live could work.
I also
like that if the sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say I think the other thing that might work in favour for the live show would be the same thing as for, all the other live things that have happened since. It gives you that freedom to do things you wouldn't normally be able to do for TV. You can be a bit coarser in terms of the language. You can be a bit more violent, if you know what I mean. Not that... having Lister dropping F-bombs and, being uber violent would be something that they do. But what I'm saying is it would give them that freedom without, the BBC or Dave breathing down the neck saying, oh, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, and it means that they can do, a lot of the funniest things are the things that go wrong and those kind of bits that never make it onto the actual episode. So it would be good to have that experience and have kind of effectively like a live Smeg ups almost.
That's the thing. I think if they did it, they have to make sure the episode is just right. If you had an episode like Marooned, where it was just them doing, them by themselves in dynamics, it could work. But the problem with Red Dwarf is that if they started doing one where you got like where they're going on and off the ship, they've got special effects and stuff like that, that's where it could go pants.
Yeah. Well, you could easily just quarantine them all in the bunk. You could have some reason they were all on lockdown and they couldn't leave the bunk room, and then you could have one set which would make it much more economical. Because I doubt they can do lots of different room sets for this kind of thing. They're probably going to want to do it in one room anyway. So that gives them a lot of freedom to set up a good basic structure and then just let the sparks fly, so to speak, the fur fly.
If they do it, they just have to be very, very clever about what they do, because it could go really well because they're obviously really good together, but it could go really, really wrong at the same time if they try and do too much in terms of like special effects and all that kind of stuff.
I don't think they would. I think that they tried to kind of ramp up some of the special effects in some of the series, and then apart from some of the prosthetics and stuff for Siliconia in this one, a lot of it was kind of getting back down to the dynamics between them rather than large external forces. So I think it could work in their favour. The budget would force them to make a small story that they could then just have some playing around with.
I think because of what we were saying about special effects, and you bring up a good point, is I think series 7 and 8 were that sort of lesser liked, I'm not saying hated, but lesser liked because of that whole big budget sci-fi special effects and CGI than actual story.
Yeah, they had some more money, and I'm not sure it entirely worked in their favor. Although they did some fun things, I really prefer the much simpler, lower budget stuff. And when they were still using the BBC lighting gantries as the hallways for the ship, and just putting red lights on it because it wasn't even the right color.
Yeah, just like having sets made like cardboard that you can obviously see that were moving.
There's something really kind of adorable and endearing.
Yeah.
About having like no budget. I think it just it really makes you and when you can see like a character sort of almost slightly propping something up because a bit of furniture is actually like just made of toothpicks and is going to fall over. I think that just it makes things more relatable in some way, because it just kind of breaks the fourth wall a little bit, and I really enjoy that kind of stuff, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what sort of sets apart from American sitcoms and the British ones, because American sitcoms, they have so much money in every episode. It's like $1 million, whatever, to produce one episode, and it's ridiculous.
They're too
how much money they
slick.
pour into it. You know, it's all too nice, isn't it? Where we look like we've got like, you know, bits of cardboard and bits of sellotape holding things up, and it still works. We still love
Duct tape.
Duct
tape holds the world together, light side and the dark side.
Well, I think that whole 200 quid budget, you know, joking aside, was forced them to be creative in terms of, in terms of special effects and set piecing and all that.
Yeah.
It makes you ingenious with the things you have to hand, and sometimes that spontaneity makes the best kind of comedy, definitely, in my opinion.
Exactly.
So it will be awesome to see if they do bring some of that spontaneity, duct tape and cardboard, if they do get to do a Red Dwarf Life series, for sure. But thank you for joining me this week, guys. I think we've just about run out of time. We need to get back through whatever dimensions we have jumped through to get here and back into the real world, unfortunately. But for anyone who's listening, who's enjoyed this, please subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications for when more videos go up on Red Dwarf TV. We've got loads of great interviews of members of the Red Dwarf cast and other videos for you guys to enjoy. From me, Emma, Ben and Aaron, we're going to say goodbye.
Good night.
Bye.
Yay!